Maya. I am so happy to be here with you, Maya Navakovic. Hope I got that right.
Yes.
Um, this is your second film, following your beautiful short, Then Comes the Evening, which had such a wonderful festival run a number of years ago. We've almost met a couple times, once in Bulgaria, and then COVID got in the way. So I'm sure we will in person at some point. But let's first just orient folks a little bit about where you're located. So you're based in Serbia, right?
Mhm.
And yet you filmed this new project at the door of the house who will come knocking in Bosnia and Herzegovina, correct?
Yes, yes, it's
Yeah.
yeah, I'm based currently in Serbia, in Belgrade, but I'm from Bosnia, and
Yeah.
film is from Serbia and Bosnia and Herzegovina. Yeah.
Right, right. Fantastic. So I understand that this film has been a long time coming. Why don't you sort of sketch out for us your process of creating the film? Because what I do know about it is really unusual and quite fascinating.
Yeah. This is my first feature film. It was shot in Bosnia, near the village where I come from. It's a story about Amy, who lost his hairdresser brother in the forest accident in the 70s. Since then, Emin hasn't cut his hair or beard. As he says, he grabs and cuts off what annoys him. Emin wanders through the cold landscape and finds refuge into nature. In short, uh, it's a film about alienation, and I wanted to portray his silence and his inner world.
Mhm.
This is a film about loss and grief. The topic of loss is unfortunately close to me, and for that reason, I dare to visualize it. I met Amin 20 years ago after a photography exhibition in my high school in Srebrenica. I took a photo of a white horse in a near by forest in my village. Since we met, I had a feeling I knew him and understand his reason for returning in to his village, forest, and horses. And I must admit, I wanted to be like him when I grew up. Yeah, that's
Mm.
the reason why I started all that process and project.
So you've really been thinking about this project or for decades then, right?
Yeah, 5 years
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah. But I mean, in the sense that you were fascinated by him even in high school.
Of course, it's
Yeah,
close to me.
yeah, it goes way back. You know, one of the things that I love so much about this film is your visual syntax. You know, you do something that we don't often see in Western cinema, and you do it quite well. And that's that every shot of the film is
Mhm.
locked down. It's a lockdown frame within which all the action unfolds. Like a camera never moves. I love this approach. Can you talk to me a little bit about sort of that visual aesthetic and why you chose lockdown frames as the building blocks of your film?
Mhm. Yeah, this is probably a result of my education. I studied the history of art. I have been interested in paintings since I was a child, and I wanted to become a painter, but that was not possible because I come from a village and a family of farmers. It wasn't possible to afford the tutors to prepare me for the Academy of Arts. And I decided to train my eye instead of training the hand. And the love for painting probably comes from the lack of toys in childhood. I remember I would stare at painting, then imagine that I enter it and create the world for myself in that place. So that's probably answer why I like static frames.
Mm. I mean, it's really quite beautiful. And it's interesting because I think every frame of your film is like a painting.
Thanks.
It's just beautifully composed in every respect.
Thanks. It's
So,
a big compliment for me.
mm.
Appreciate it.
Uh, you know, I want to talk to you about one of my favorite moments in the film,
Mhm.
and that's when your main character, Emin, I laugh just thinking about it, right? He holds a piece of string or floss in his hands and he wraps it around a young boy's tooth and then expertly sort of yanks the tooth out of the boy's mouth. It's an intimate moment. It's raw and sweet, but it also speaks to poverty, to class, so many things. Talk to me about how this moment came to be filmed.
All my childhood is in that frame. It evokes the memory of my childhood as well as many children from that area. During the war in the small village, it was our method of tooth pulling. My mother would pull them out for me and my sisters. Now everyone will probably look at my teeth.
So how many teeth have you had pulled that way? Do you know?
Don't worry, I made sure to take care of them, but it was quite a lot.
So your mom actually used to do it.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow. Wow.
So it's a real cinema verite shot.
Yeah, that's modern dentistry for you there, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
The boy is my nephew, and he doesn't like dentist. And
Mm,
telling him my story convinced him to remove this baby teeth.
mm.
So that's the secret.
So that really came from your own experience then.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
As
wonderful.
as I said, all my childhood is that frame.
Now I wonder, um, did he get the tooth out on the first try?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, it just one try and yank. Okay.
No try again. Just one chance.
Mm. It's really a beautiful moment. Really a beautiful moment. When I first saw the film, I initially thought of it as belonging to the canon or genre of hybrid nonfiction. In other words, there are scenes that feel like you wrote them. It's still observational, but and of nature or of your central character, Emin, but I still can have always continued to think of it as a documentary. But I know you're calling it something different. You call it docu-fiction. Can you explain that to me?
Yeah. My intention with this film wasn't to make a mere portrait of famine, but to go deeper into his inner world. I often say that this film is not about Emin, but in him, in a way about me, a depiction of the inner struggle of the man who has experienced the loss. And probably this film is the best represented by the style of a poetic or creative documentary, where a subjective interpretation of the theme is included, in which individual characters and events remained undeveloped in favor of emphasizing a certain atmosphere, meaning, and metaphors. sticking to a more symbolic than a narrative flow. For
Mhm.
such a more abstract approach, where intuition was my main support, I didn't want to put the film in the strict norms and forms. Seems that we sometimes forget that artistic practice serves to break forms and not to
Mhm.
follow them and
Yeah.
blindly stick to them. As
Yeah.
Bowie said, if you feel safe in the area that you are working in, you're not working in the right area. Go a little bit out of your depth.
Mhm.
And when you don't feel your feet are quite touching the bottom, you're just about in the right place to do something exciting.
Yeah.
This speaks to me. And I realized how the film is a serious process for me because I know that it's a part of my life, of me, my people, and I don't know what the genre it belongs to. Perhaps it belongs to the genre of psychological realism.
Mm.
We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe it doesn't need a label, right? Maybe it's its own genre, right? Because certainly
Yeah,
I've never
it
quite seen
feels
anything
like
quite like it.
so.
Yeah. Labels get in the way sometimes, don't they?
Yes,
Yeah.
sometimes we cannot tell what we wanted and what we feeling. And if you wanted to tell what we feeling and put label on that, I think it's not good approach.
Yeah. Yeah. Well said.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about a technique that you used in the film. You do something that I really appreciate a lot, and that's that you do several times during the course, you do long dissolves between seasons. So in other
Mhm,
words, the frame will be a match frame shot, right? It's exactly the same from the same location, same focal length, everything, many months later. And then so you bring the viewer from one season to another with a locked frame.
mhm.
I'm always interested in sort of the mechanics of how we do these things. So can you talk to me like how you matched those perfectly and made sure you matched the frame? So one was on a riverbank, for example. So did you just put a rock down so you knew exactly where to put the tripod when you came back so many months later, or how did you do it?
Yeah, this will needed a lot of patience. And I knew at the beginning what I would have to become a good friend with patience. As I said, it's the landscape where I grew up. And to show that properly, I would often have to wait for a different season. The selected location and transition in the film has a very personal meaning for me. So yes, I remembered and wrote down how my camera was positioned compared to objects. And I would take photos of the camera position so that when I return in another season, I can capture the same composition. I do all that because I look at nature as a portrait, and I wanted to include it in the film as an entity because I often find that nature give us various answers. The uh, cyclical nature of time, season, and everything, our lives or the life on of one apple are central themes for me. The cyclical nature of the world always leads to spring, providing a sense of renewal and hope. we could even say that the main characters in this film are Father Time and Mother Nature.
Yeah, well said. I was going to note that I felt like the seasons were a character in the film. Yeah.
Yeah,
And so were you very intentional about that from the outset?
yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so now I'm going to ask you, maybe it's an easy question, maybe it's a hard question, but what do you love most about what you've created, and what do you wish you could have done differently?
I love the fact that the film was created from pure emotion, which was experienced, lived, distanced from, reimagined, relived, and recaptured. And
Mm,
there are probably things that could be better, but when you know that the works result from that emotion and that you are alone in sub-zero temperature, I don't even have the heart to be so self-critical, which I generally am, I must admit.
mhm,
So I realized that I covered myself as much as I could, as saying goes. So also I'm aware that I shot the film with one photo camera with a single lens and a tripod held together by nail. So and then I remember that I give all my strength, love, energy to make the best I can. So
mm, yeah. Yeah, well, bravo. It's a beautiful, gorgeous film. Really, every frame's a painting. And I know that you premiered it at Sheffield, where it immediately won the Grand Jury Award, which is quite a premiere. Can you just share a little bit about the trajectory of the film?
yeah, that's right. The film won the Grand Jury Award in main competition. Thank you, jury, once more. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's doing well in Europe, and
Mhm.
we are still searching for our place under the US sky. So hopefully this either FallDocs will help make the film more visible
Yeah.
to the US audience. Finger
Yeah.
crossed,
That's right, exactly. Well, it takes time sometimes, right? To figure
of
out
course.
the best
Patience
home.
again.
So exactly. It'll happen. You just need to cross those fingers and be patient.
Yeah,
Um, thank you so much for making this film. I wish you the best of luck with it at FallDocs and with the next steps for it. I think you've just created a beautiful set of moving paintings, and I hope as many people as possible get a chance to see it.
thank you. Thank you, Skye, a lot from everything. It's great pleasure to work with you.
Okay,
Bye.
bye.